American history. It's everywhere you look, if you just look. Today, I'll take you to a comfortable, sleepy little village that once was an island surrounded by water, nestled in the heart of central Florida, called Geneva. You need not look hard to find history here. One story, in particular, hit me like a brick, so much so that I wanted to share it with you. It's a story of a young man, a soldier, a Confederate soldier for that matter, who fought for what he thought was right and paid with his life. His name is Lewis Thornton Powell, and his grave, along with his mother's, is right here in the Geneva Cemetery. A simple Google search will take you into the complex world of Lewis Powell, bringing in pages and pages of incredibly interesting reading about what he did. So I won't dive in too deeply here in this video with that story, but a good place to start is the website of the Museum of Geneva History. What I'd like to try to share here is the manner of boy, man, and soldier Lewis Powell was. He was born on April 22, 1844 in Randolph County, Alabama, to George Cater Powell and Patience Caroline Powell. Out of their 8 surviving children, Lewis was their youngest son. Like most country boys, Lewis loved to fish and be outside. He would even take in stray animals and care for them. Because of that, he was often called Doc by his sisters. Lewis and the rest of his siblings were schooled by his father, who was a schoolmaster and farmer before becoming an ordained minister. Lewis was described by those who knew him to be quiet and well-liked. Then suddenly, there was war. On April 12, 1861, the American Civil War began. And on May 30th, 1861, at the young age of 17, Lewis told them he was 19 and enlisted in the Army, joining the Hamilton Blues, the 2nd Florida Infantry, Company 1. He was a good soldier. He fought in many battles, including the Battle of Gettysburg, where he was wounded, captured, and taken to a POW hospital. After being transferred to another hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, Lewis was able to escape with the help of a young nurse and fled to Alexandria, Virginia, where he joined the famous Mosby's Rangers under Colonel John Mosby and the 43rd Battalion Virginia Cavalry. It was after serving with Colonel Mosby that Lewis get involved with the Confederate Secret Service as a spy and ultimately meet John Wilkes Booth. And the rest, as they say, is history. And Lewis was tried and hanged for the part he played in the Lincoln conspiracy. Which brings us back to the present. I've read where people call Lewis an assassin. Well, no, he wasn't. His attempt at taking the life of the Secretary of State, William Seward, was unsuccessful, so technically that makes him an attempted assassin. But isn't that what soldiers and spies do? They fight and kill in the name of their banner. Some folks have said, yes, but the war was over. Well, that's debatable. Historians aren't all in agreement when the war actually ended. Some say it was when General Lee surrendered to General Grant on April 9, 1865. 5 days before the assassination attempt. But the war raged on in other parts of the country, especially Texas. In fact, it wasn't until August 20th, 1866, that President Johnson was finally able to say that the said insurrection is at an end and that peace, order, tranquility, and civil authority now exists in and throughout the whole United States of America. I'm sure that in Lewis Powell's mind, he was still fighting the war, doing what warriors do, doing what he thought would help the South. Had the South won, Powell would be considered a hero. Was he fighting for the wrong side? Not necessarily. He was just fighting for the side that lost. In the end, when Lewis confided in Reverend Dr. Abram Dunn Gillette, he remorsefully said that he thought he was doing the right thing and that it would give peace to the South. Some of his last words to Dr. Gillette were, "My course is run. I know now how foolish, vain, and wholly useless it is and must have been. And were I set at liberty this morning, I should hope to be dead by sunset, as all men must hereafter point at me as a murderer." Then on November 12th, 1994, Lewis's skull, which is another interesting story, was finally laid to rest in the Geneva cemetery near his mother over 100 years after he was hung. The rest of his body is probably in an unmarked mass grave in Washington, D.C. No matter what you believe or how you feel about this matter, if you have a chance to visit his grave, do so. But please be respectful and don't remove anything. This man fought and died for what he believed to be right. Would you?